Have you ever wondered what imperialism truly means? At its core, imperialism refers to a policy or practice of extending a country's power and influence through colonization, use of military force and other means of domination. It's a term that has been used since Columbus' discovery of the New World to describe the actions of powerful empires seeking to expand their territories and assert their dominance over others. But what are the reasons behind imperialism? In this video, we'll take a closer look at historians' conceptions and theories of imperialism.
Erklärfilm Hobsbawm's theory of imperialism emphasizes the role of capitalist tendency towards overproduction and driving imperialist expansion. With the division of the world into civilized and backwards, he argues that capitalist economies of the industrial states import resources and exotic goods and also export to new outlet markets to compensate for overproduction of goods. And as such, powerful capitalist nations have an economic incentive to colonize, seek control of and exploit weaker people for their own economic gain. This is backed by making use of their technological and military superiority. Blom's theory of imperialism emphasizes the role of ideology and cultural factors in driving imperialist expansion. He argues that imperialism is fueled by a belief in the superiority of one's own culture or civilization and the desire to spread it to other parts of the world. Overall, Blom's theory of imperialism emphasizes the cultural and psychological dimensions of imperialism and the ways in which it shapes ideas and attitudes about race, nationality, and identity.
And now comes Hobson's theory. Expressed in a study done in 1902, Hobson endorses the view that the expansion of imperialism was driven by the search for new markets and investment opportunities overseas. In addition to that, Hobson argues that imperialism has been directly motivated by a sense of superiority of the white people over the other races who were considered lower. As an example for it, he names the Pax Britannica, an idea of the British people that implied that worldwide peace and prosperity could only be attained and maintained through British dominion. He also claims that business politicians wanted to subjugate the indigenous people and take over their land so they could profit from their resources, while at the same time having them work for them, with this meaning having them working for their own colonizers in their own land. And obviously, in order to achieve that, Hobson says that cultural and intellectual indoctrination of the masses into admiring the grandeur of imperialism and the suppression of their combative instincts to fight back, to fight for their independence, were necessary.
Another incredibly important theory on imperialism is Hans-Ulrich Wehler's theory of social imperialism, which translates to Sozialimperialismus. It is one of the most famous theories that concentrates on the social struggles and challenges of the 19th century to explain why imperialism was reintroduced by the imperial powers. Therefore, he speaks of a division of society into two groups, one being the minority of rulers and the other the disadvantaged majority. Since Europe's rulers were confronted with their citizens' problems, which included pauperism, hierarchies, and the social question, which could all eventually lead to change, which the first group desperately needed and wanted to prevent, imperialism seemed to be the solution. Society's problems were being exported to the periphery. Colonies were used to distract from the named problems in order to satisfy the second group, also with success abroad.
Excuse me, I don't understand English very well. Could you please summarize the main points in German?
Of course, gerne doch. Insgesamt heißt Imperialismus, die Macht und den Einfluss eines Landes durch Kolonialisierung, den Einsatz militärischer Gewalt oder andere Formen der Dominanz zu vergrößern. Hobsbawm, Blom, Hobson und Wehler stellten dazu verschiedene Theorien auf, um das Phänomen des Imperialismus zu erklären, während Blom argumentiert, dass der Besitz von Kolonien als nationales Staatssymbol galt und für die Weltmachtambitionen von Großbritannien, Frankreich sowie Deutschland von Bedeutung war, betont Hobsbawm den Zusammenhang von Imperialismus und kapitalistischen Wachstumstendenzen. Hobson zufolge jedoch ist Imperialismus wirtschaftlich motiviert, aber rassistisch und kulturell begründet. Wehlers gegensätzliche Theorie des Sozialimperialismus versteht imperialistische Erfolge in der Peripherie als Ablenkung zu sozialen Missständen der einfachen Bevölkerung.
And in conclusion, the theories that historians made offer critical new perspectives on the phenomenon of imperialism. While some stress the cultural and intellectual influences on imperialistic beliefs, others emphasize the significance and economic interests and power rivalries between various states as driving forces behind imperialism. But all agree that the legacy of exploitation, brutality, and injustice left by imperialism still continue to affect regions of the world to this day.